Coming to you from a car-sized drone hovering over Buccaneer Beach, this is the Oceanside Station, the big Buccaneer channel, www.osidebbbc.com. This is episode number 25 for January 22nd, 2025. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Ken Treadway, and today we're going to be talking to you about the Main Street Oceanside executive director who was fired following a lawsuit filed against him. Well, Gamaro Escarcega has a new job. We'll tell you about that. And also, Oceanside Congressman, the man who represents us in the House of Representatives, Mike Levin, has a new challenger, Jim Desmond. We're going to talk about that. And also Hill Street Blues. There's a brand new business that just opened up on formerly Hill Street, now Coast Highway, on the corner of Seagaze and Hill Street. Well, the city said, not so fast. You can't open, you can't operate, do not pass go until you get a conditional use permit. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about two bartenders who get to take over their own Oceanside bar, also on Hill Street / Coast Highway. And finally, a brand new enterprise. It's a donut shop that is now serving up freshly squeezed vegetable and fruit juice. All that on Hill Street, formerly Hill Street, now Coast Highway. And finally, 2025, the year that Oceanside gets a marijuana retailer. We're going to be talking about that. Also, we have a return visit from Rodney McGough, who was the mayor of the homeless encampment a few years ago down on Oceanside Boulevard. For happy hour, we go to Frankie's. And for our deep dive in Oceanside, we're going to be talking about two things you just can't get enough of in Oceanside. One of them is the Grace Church. There are 4 of them. And another one is Walmart. We've got 4 of those too. All that coming up here on the Big Buccaneer channel. Now, here's the news. You can call it Hill Street Blues. The building on the southwest corner of Seagaze and Coast Highway, which was formerly known as the intersection of Hill Street and First Street, was most recently the home of a very cool secondhand store, but it sat vacant for most of last year. Well, the good news is that that most prominent downtown street corner storefront finally has found a tenant. It was rebuilt on the interior and exterior to house a fleet of golf cart-like electric-powered beach cruisers. The bad news is that the entrepreneur failed to get the right permits, and the entire enterprise was told by the city of Oceanside it had to shut down until it secures a conditional use permit. That process could take at least 3 months. This would be Oceanside's first such rental storefront. One successfully operated and still operates in Carlsbad. Meanwhile, 2 longtime local bartenders are looking forward to a better launch at the bar they just took over a few doors south on the same North Coast Highway block. They have taken over the Oceanside Sports Bar. The pair promises to reinstall a fully operating kitchen, which was disassembled by the previous owner. They say they are still putting together special attractions, including a live comedy night and an open mic night, but have yet to identify which night that'll be. And they also want to bring in live bands. They currently have karaoke on Wednesday nights and a top 40 DJ on Thursdays. The new owners promise to keep the bar a place where locals can feel at home and at a gentrification-free zone. Now, this historic bar has been known over the decades as the Pastime, the El Paso, and Hosie's. The previous owner of the Oceanside Sports Bar was told by the State Alcohol Beverage Control Board that it had violated its license to serve beer and wine when the bar started staging live bands in the back patio, which they never had permission to do. This drew complaints from guests who were staying at the Finn Hotel, formerly the Dolphin Inn, down the street on the same block. Meanwhile, at the other end of Hill Street, Coast Highway, is Hill Street Donuts near Vista Way. New owners, a young couple named Lena and Ryan, have taken over and added a wonderful new twist. They have installed a juice machine and will make you a freshly squeezed cup of juice with no water and no sugar. They use oranges and apples and kale and all kinds of fruits and vegetables they have there on hand. This is a great addition to the neighborhood. Longtime locals will remember when the place opened in the 70s as a Winchell's Donuts. Gumaro Escarcega, hired as the executive director of Main Street Oceanside in January of last year, was fired after a lawsuit was filed seeking damages for a former Main Street employee who claimed Escarcega made sexually offensive comments to her. Well, he was not out of work very long. Escarcega was just hired by the Vista Chamber of Commerce as development director. No word yet on the disposition of that lawsuit or who will be hired as Main Street Oceanside's new executive director. Mike Levin has 4 times been elected Oceanside's congressman from the 49th District. That includes South Orange County, Oceanside, and Vista. Levin may be facing his most formidable opponent yet, now that Jim Desmond has said he will challenge Levin in 2026. Desmond, who served as a San Marcos city councilman before being elected to the county supervisor's North County District 5 seat, has only lived in the 49th District for a couple of years. He moved to Oceanside from San Marcos 2 years ago. San Marcos is not in the 49th Congressional District. Levin won re-election in November by 4 percentage points against car dealership owner Matt Gunderson. Levin's 4-point margin of victory was larger than that of another race that also straddled Orange County and North San Diego County. In Assembly District 74, incumbent Republican Lori Davies barely squeaked out a re-election win over Democrat Chris Duncan. And in fact, Davies lost to Duncan in the North County part of the district. Regarding Levin's congressional district, it is unclear what name recognition Jim Desmond will have in Orange County when voters go to the poll next year. Desmond says it's becoming unbearable to live in California. It looks like 2025 will be the year Oceanside will get a marijuana retail storefront. The City Council has approved 3 such licenses for 3 different locations. 2 addresses have yet to be selected. One will be Medleaf, which is already up and running in a 4,800 square foot warehouse on San Luis Rey Road, sort of at the midway point between the Humane Society Dog Pound and Airport Road. The Medleaf building, which abuts Mission Avenue, is already operating as a legal distribution business, but many in the legal weed business, including some of the 14 retail outlets at Vista, say they are hampered by the illegal black market pot dealers who drop off pot on a door-to-door basis and have no fear of getting busted by the police or sheriff deputies. A recent visit to Medleaf had a security officer come out to see who the visitor was and what he wanted. They don't let people inside Medleaf, and owners say they currently employ 35 employees. The City Council of Oceanside made it clear that there will be no cannabis shops in the downtown business district under its current law. The City of Vista reports very little crime and millions of dollars in extra tax revenue connected to its 14 retail cannabis shops.